The fallout from Fender Bender has left 20-year-old Dexter Morgan in a tangled web of problems after his third kill went disastrously wrong. In episode 5, after a kill goes wrong, Dexter is grounded by Harry. Deb deepens her relationship with Gio and bonds with her brother on the anniversary of their mother's death. The aftermath of Dexter Morgan's attempt to murder Mad Dog, a mob hitman, is the subject of the 5th episode of Paramount Plus' criminal drama series Dexter: Original Sin. Harry Morgan confronts him about the former's escape, which shouldn't have happened, despite the fact that his target dies in an accident. As part of his attempt to grow from his mistakes, the serial killer experiments with a drug on his loved one. Deb Morgan demonstrates how difficult it is to accept the passing of her mother, Doris Morgan, while Dexter and Harry navigate their own situations. Dexter Morgan confirms the death of Mad Dog as target at the start of episode 5. While the victim of the assault calls for assistance, the serial murderer observes the elderly man's motionless body from a distance. Dexter cleans up the assassin's location to allay suspicions as the first responders arrive. He escapes the policemen who arrive at Mad Dog's house because he has enough goods from his job to cover his traces. Harry questions Dexter about why he has been hearing the former's target's name on the police radio when he gets home. Despite the fact that the situation was beyond his control, Dexter responds that it is now resolved. Harry, though, is not persuaded. He makes his son sit down and examine his own faults. As he chases the hitman down the street, the seasoned police officer asks the serial killer what would have happened if someone had seen him. Harry chastises Dexter for his errors after he acknowledges that he almost put himself in danger. The serial killer's homicidal inclinations seriously disturb him when he is by himself at home. In an attempt to divert his attention, he eats multiple brownies without understanding they were made with marijuana for a party. Deborah Morgan joins Dexter after realizing that he has consumed her brownies and become intoxicated. After a long time apart, they bond as brothers and sisters and spend the night together. Harry is not finished with the serial killer, who soon returns to his place of employment. In exchange, the latter requests that the former take Mad Dog's fingerprints. In order to teach his son about the risks involved in his murderous rampage, the seasoned police officer does not want him to disguise himself. Regardless of their personal obligations, Deborah, Dexter, and Harry agree to spend Doris' death anniversary together. The former, who has missed her mother terribly since she died of cancer, is troubled by the day. When she goes to her loved one's grave, she says how much she wishes they were there to support her as she enters a new stage of life. Her father and brother are in her life, but they haven't paid much attention to her problems. The rage only grows when the two men also don't accompany her to the grave as they had intended. After confiding in Doris, Deb returns to her new lover Gio for solace. Her classmates are envious since he has been driving her to school in his fancy automobile. Following their visit to the cemetery, the pair spends time together at a secret location where they get intimate. Harry has a different version of Doris' memories. They conceive Deborah without really trying, as the episode reveals. When his adulterous romance with Dexter's biological mother, Laura Moser, was intense and all-consuming, she became pregnant with their daughter. At last, it's the time of the serial killer. Dexter pays a visit to Doris' grave and thanks her for everything. He remembers her attempting to get her a psychiatrist. He thought at the time that she didn't like him based on her behavior. He acknowledges his homicidal tendencies and comes to the realization that his adoptive mother loved and worried about him. Despite the fact that she is no longer with him, these attributes make him feel closer to her. After correcting Dexter's errors, Harry departs for the courtroom to discuss Levi Reed's case. He spoke with assurance about the evidence that let him identify the perpetrator, who was charged with the murders of 8 people, including children. Then, by bringing in the suspect's girlfriend, who attempted to give the investigator her partner's alibi, Reed's attorney turns the case around. The officer didn't bother to take her statement seriously because she was intoxicated and unintelligible at the time. Nevertheless, the court dismisses the case, apologizes to Reed, and views this as a perplexing error. Aaron Spencer is compelled to move against Harry as a result of the case's unexpected twists. Spencer cannot ruthlessly blame the cop because the latter is his best detective and a longtime partner. To avoid controversy, he removes Harry from Jimmy Powell's case instead. The detective should only look into the low-key cases involving Maria Laguerta, according to the captain. Dexter learns about etorphine, a veterinary medication that resembles morphine and is used to sedate large animals like horses and elephants, while Harry loses himself in disappointment and frustration. Dexter learns that the medication will prevent his targets from waking up before he can securely restrain them. Then, to take the same, he shows up at a racetrack. In order to demonstrate to his father that he has learned a number of important lessons from his failures, the serial killer injects the medicine into Harry's body to verify its effectiveness. Additionally, Dexter injects Harry with etorphine just before he attempts to fire down Reed, saving the cop from being a heartless killer. Because he believes the suspect is a child murderer, the detective is impressed by his son's new method of operation and orders him to kill Reed next.